Hey guys, and welcome to my second video on how to create a new character using D&D Beyond. If you watched my first episode, you will know that characters are saved under My Characters. So let's go there now. Now, you should recognize the screen if you saw my last episode, and you'll know you only have a max of 6 characters if you have a free account on this website. It's unfortunate to be sure, but often enough, 6 is enough for most people. So, to create a character, you go over to this button here that says Create a Character. And of course, you click on it. This takes you to this screen, a character creation method. There is Standard, Quick Build, and Randomize. If you do start with Standard, I do recommend filling in this checkbox, as it says Ideal for Beginners. But I'll be taking you through these things. So we'll start with some of the simplest ones. Randomize. This is just this just randomizes your character. You choose what level you want the randomized character to be, if possible. Well, if you want, you can choose the race. There are a ton of different races that I will go over in my next video. Each and every race. The next one is class. These go over the many different classes that choose how you fight and interact with the world. That'll be on my video after my races video on how to play each class. Next one up is allowing multi-class. By selecting this, you allow the randomizer to multi-class. What that means is after taking a few levels in one class, they might take a level in a second class, allowing them to have features, low-level features from both classes. Next one up is allow feats. Feats are the abilities that you can get as you get stronger. And of course, a character name. So, first, quick example, we're going to go with a level 1 character. Let's go with human, since they are one of the most basics. Class, I'll let you randomize the class. Character name, banana. And watch it work its magic. Although you will not actually see anything. It will just be a loading screen. Now, it will just straight throw you into the What's Next tab. But I usually prefer to go to the Home to start looking at what I have. So, there's the character name, which you can also randomize. So, I have Mustafa Glory Shard. Now, these are your character preferences. Homebrew content. If you have homebrew, then this enables it or disables it from your character. I don't have any homebrew on this account, so it doesn't matter which way this is flipped. Critical Role. This allows things like Blood Hunter and other things from the popular Critical Role series to be enabled. Playtest content. This is unofficial D&D Beyond content that can be added to your character. Though, keep in mind, because it is unofficial, it can be taken away at any time. So be careful. Dice rolling. There's a neat little dice roller that rolls the dice on your screen for you. This enables it and disables it. You'll notice that it affects the icon in the corner. This is how you roll it. There's a D20, a D12, D10, D100, D8, D6, and D4. And you can roll multiple of these. Keep in mind, for slower computers and mobile devices, this is pretty laggy. But I'll quickly show you what it looks like. As you can see, it's incredibly laggy as it loads an actual 3D model of a die. And let's see, it looks like it's going to land on 12? 12? No, what is that? 15? Yeah, that's looking like a 15 to me. And I got a 15. Cool. And it will pop up at the bottom here. What you got. So next up is race. I already chose race just so I could have something selected for my randomizer, but if you go here, you can change your race, and it will normally look like this when you select the race tab. It gives you a whole variety of free races to choose from. More on that in my next video. Next one up is class. This is where you choose a class. As you can see, Barbarian was already selected for my class. Barbarians are pretty tough, but maybe I don't want to play a Barbarian. So I'll click that red X to get rid of it, and I can choose from one of these many classes. But we'll stick with Barbarian. It's probably good. Next one up is abilities. These are your stats. They determine how strong you are, how quick you are, how tough you are, how smart you are, how wise you are, and how charismatic you are. In this case, the randomizer has decided to give me a 10 in my strength, a 13 dexterity, 13 in my constitution, 9 in my intelligence, my wisdom is a 15, and my charisma is a 13. Now, my race, human, has given me a +1 bonus to all of these, but you don't see it up here. If you want to check your final scores, you should scroll down here, where it has the final scores. So for strength, 11, dexterity, 14, constitution, 14, and so on. Now, there are many different ways of getting stats. These are the generation methods. There is standard array, where the game already gives you a set numbers, and you just put them wherever you feel like. There is manual/rolled, where you manually input how much of each stat you want. But keep in mind, it cannot go above 18, as you can see here, or below 3. But it says manual/rolled, and I highly doubt your DM will allow you just put an 18 in every single one. So, what is rolled? Well, rolled is when you click this button here, and the little rolling button, will roll 4 6-sided dice. Once the 4 dice have been selected, it will look at the numbers and find the smallest one. It will remove that and add the other 3 together. That's one of your numbers. You do this 6 times and put the numbers where your stats go. For now, I'm just going to put 12s across the board, as 12 and 11 are the average stats to get. And finally, point buy. Point buy is interesting in the fact that you get to customize better customize in all reality, your stats. You can choose to have 15 in strength and 9 in dexterity. You are not limited in the numbers, and they're not random either. The offset is, though, that you are given limited resources, and the stronger you make a stat, the more points it's going to cost you. I personally like point buy the best. It certainly allows you to customize your character that much more. But most people end up using the rolled feature. Next one up is description. This is where your background is chosen. The free ones are acolyte, which is basically a religious person, criminal/spy, a folk hero, the haunted one, the noble, the sage, and the soldier. For now, we'll be using criminal/spy. Next one up is equipment. Equipment is where you choose your items that you take with you. So as a barbarian, I get this starting equipment. Now, you will have to make some selections. So for a barbarian, you would choose a great axe or any martial melee weapon. So I could choose any of these long ones. I personally prefer glaive, so I'll be taking that. 2 hand axes or any simple weapon. I'll take 2 hand axes, as the only simple weapon I prefer is a dagger. An explorer's pack and 4 javelins. The 4 javelins is nice, and a little explanation of what the explorer's pack is underneath it. It contains a backpack, a bedroll, a mess kit, a tinderbox, torches, rations, water skin, rope, and yeah. And then you also get some equipment from your background over in description. This is a crowbar, some clothes, and some gold. So I'll go ahead and select this. So the next part would be to go to your character sheet, because what's next is really only to print out your character sheet. The thing is, because I have not inputted any stats, it will not allow me to go to my character sheet because my character's not completed. I'll just head over to Point Buy and quickly put some stats appropriate for a very tough barbarian. Now I can go to my character sheet. And here it is. So now to teach you how to read your character sheet. There will be an icon of your character here, which you can change by clicking on it. This menu will pop up on the side. There are many different buttons here. This will say your class and your subclass if you have one, your name, your picture, what race you are, what level, the ability to roll dice. Your edit character will bring you back into that character maker so that you can make some changes. Manage levels brings you to where you chose your class and allows you to increase or decrease your level. Short rest is a thing in D&D where your character rests for an hour or so. The reason that there's a button here for this is if you take a short rest in your game, you can quickly hit short rest and any abilities or HP that you would gain from a short rest is automatically filled out for you. The same goes for a long rest, although more abilities are most likely under this category. Change frame allows you to change the frame of your character, although I do not believe there are any free ones. Yep. Next one up is change backdrop. As you know, I see this, there's this large mountainous area underneath my barbarian backdrop. But you can choose from any of them. There's Bard in a nice city, Cleric up in the mountains, similar to the Barbarian, Druid in a forest, Fighter in some kind of temple, Monk in a monastery, and so on. Next one up is change theme. This red is typical for D&D Beyond, but you can choose between Druid Moss, Ranger Emerald, Rogue Ash, Monk Sky, and so on. Next one up is changing portrait. It'll automatically show you some human portraits to choose from. But of course, you can upload your own by selecting a file from your computer, and scrolling down and waiting for it to load can give you some non-human ones as well, like this weird creature. So, now that you've finished your preferences, let's read this character sheet. So how do we go about doing that? Well, I would first start by looking at our stats. This is strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Strength is how much you can lift, carry, and hit with strength-based weapons. 16 is your score, which you won't really use except in character creation, and 3 will be your modifier. That's determined by your score. As you can see, I have put 16 into my 3 physical stats, while they're all 9s in my mental stats. Dexterity is the ability to dodge and your speed. This affects your initiative and your damage with dexterity-based weapons. Constitution is how tough and how resilient your body is, often contributing to how much HP you have. Intelligence is your ability to understand and recall information, usually about arcana, which is the way of magic, history, investigation, nature, and religion. Next one up is wisdom. This is basically focusing on your senses, such as sight, smell, hearing. But it can also affect various other things, like animal handling, and insight, which is your ability to tell if someone's deceiving you. It can even affect other things like medicine and perception. Next one up is charisma, how charismatic you are. The higher charisma you have, the more likely you are able to get someone to do something or believe something. Next one up is proficiency bonus. You see these little black dots that are just filled in over the place? Those are next to skills that you have proficiency in. If you have proficiency in an item or in a skill, you get a bonus equal to the number labeled here. So in this case, 2. Your proficiency bonus is based off how high level you are. So as a level 1 character, I only have a +2 to proficiency. Next one up is walking speed, or speed in general. This is how many feet you can move in a given turn. 30 feet. If you are playing in real life or using some kind of online grid, every square represents 5 feet. So, if you divide 30 by 5, that means I can move 6 squares per turn. Inspiration. You can be given inspiration by bards or the DM themselves. Inspiration is something that we'll go over when we talk about bard in the classes video. Next one up is our HP. This is how much health we have. By typing in a number here, like 24, and hitting damage. That was a bad example. Let's put some HP back on him. If we put, say, 12 and hit damage, you'll notice that our number drops to 3. Because we took 12 damage, we have 3 HP left. So, you can do the same thing with healing. If you hit heal. You can also do this over here. Now, when I typed in a number that was bigger than my health and hit damage, this brought me this screen. This means I am knocked out. Now, in this game, hitting 0 HP does not mean death. It only means you are unconscious. You will have to unfortunately roll death saving throws. Every turn that you have been knocked unconscious by reaching 0 HP, you have to roll a death saving throw. This is when, how you do that is when you roll a d20. If you've gotten a 10 or lower, you get a failure. Get 3 failures and you are dead. Next one, but if you get an 11 or higher, you get a success. If you get 3 successes, you are stable and do not die unless attacked again. Being attacked while unconscious automatically gives you a failure. A critical hit will give you 2 failures. If you roll a natural 1, you automatically get 2 failures. If you roll a natural 20, not only will you get 3 successes, but you will be healed for 1 HP, meaning you can wake back up and continue the fight. You might have noticed that when you got 3 failures and died, something else popped up here. If one of your allies or some miracle is able to heal you, able to revive a dead character, then this option will most likely pop up. This will there are 2 options here: restore to life with full HP or restore to life with 1 HP. Now, the lowest level spell, one that most healers and spellcasters have access to, is Revivify, which only revives with 1 HP. So if you select this and restore life, and click again to confirm, you are now back alive with 1 HP. But what about the other one? The other one, is when you get 3 failures and die, and you can be restored to life with full HP, making it harder for you to die. I'm just going to heal my character back up so he's not dead while we continue on. Next one up is saving throws. Saving throws are what's used to resist spells and traps and the like. As a barbarian, I have proficiency in constitution and strength. In D&D, the stats are known as 3 good saving throws and 3 bad saving throws. The good saving throws are dexterity, constitution, and wisdom, while the bad ones are strength, intelligence, and charisma. The reason for this is because dexterity is the ability to dodge things most of the time. So being able to dodge an arrow trap or a fireball is incredibly useful. Similar things with constitution. Constitution are things for like poisons or being turned to stone, which is very useful for resisting that. Wisdom is your senses, being able to detect a harmful spell and having enough time to prepare for it is very good. This is also used as a stat to keep a calm mind. Strength saving throws are usually not used. The most common use I've seen of it, though, is resisting strong winds. Intelligence saving throws are for spells that take control or damage the mind. Charisma saving throws deal with being able to resist an effect that would compel you to do something, or being banished to another dimension. Next one up is the large box you see here, skills. These are the various skills that your DM might have you use. They list out acrobatics, animal handling, arcana, which is the way of magic, athletics, deception, history, insight, intimidation, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, performance, or the ability to entertain, persuasion, religion, sleight of hand, stealth, and survival. Now you may notice numbers next to each of these. The bigger the number, and positive, of course, the better you are at it. You of course can have negatives, as you can see with a lot of my stats, because I have focused on my physical capabilities. My mental capabilities aren't as strong, meaning I have a bunch of negative ones for my other stats. So you know how good you are at the stat, but how do you actually use this? Say your DM tells you to make a nature check. You would roll a d20 and -1. Same thing with your saving throws. A strength saving throw, you roll a d20 and add 5. A strength check, roll roll 1d20 and -1. You can do this for all of your stats and all of the skills. Continuing on, there are your passive stats. You won't need to know this, but your DM might. So make sure your DM sees this. These are proficiencies. You can use light armor, medium armor, shields, martial weapons, simple weapons, and various tools and languages. This is your initiative. When you roll initiative at the beginning of combat, this helps determine who's going first. Having a higher initiative means you get to go first most of the time. By rolling a d20 and adding this number, you have figured out your initiative for that turn. Armor class is how often you get hit. A bigger number means it's harder for you to be hit. This usually only applies to non-magical attacks, though, so spells will have an easier time getting through. Defenses are for resistances, immunities, or vulnerabilities. And conditions are things like blindness, deafness, and being frightened. You shouldn't have any to start with. Actions are the various things you can do in combat. I'll talk more about this in the classes. Equipment is where you access your inventory, and to use your tools, you can click these boxes here. Features and traits, more about that during the classes and races video. Same thing with description. Notes is where you can take notes down about your allies, enemies, backstory, and such. And extras are for animal companions, which you can search up and add to your character sheet.